Imagine just stepping away from the usual tourist trails in Europe. You find yourself on these ancient cobblestone streets, picture houses painted in soft pastels, maybe clinging to a cliffside, or landscapes that honestly look like they're straight out of some old storybook. What if you could actually find places where time genuinely seems to slow right down, places just soaked in history, unbelievable beauty, letting you really savor it all?
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. It's not just a fantasy. These places are out there. Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring the 50 most beautiful small towns and villages in Europe. It's quite a list, packed with hidden gems.
That's right. And look, this isn't just us reading a list. Think of this as your shortcut, your inside track to really getting what makes these destinations so special. We've gone through all the source material you gave us, pulled out the key insights, those little surprising facts, the aha moments, but without the info overload. Our mission, give you the essence, the real core of why these places are just, well, incredible.
And the variety is honestly stunning. You've got these dramatic medieval fortresses and peaceful little coastal spots, even villages where cars just aren't a thing. Each one is a unique masterpiece. And what's fascinating as we go through them is seeing how human creativity meets natural beauty. Sometimes it gets pretty big odds, right?
Yeah.
Creates something truly memorable.
Exactly. So let's jump right in. We're starting our countdown at number 19 and working our way up. We'll get into what makes each one absolutely worth knowing about.
Okay, kicking things off, number 19. We're in Italy, Sienna. People often call it a perfectly preserved medieval masterpiece. And it really is. But more than that, Sienna kind of embodies this medieval idea.
Yeah.
The whole city conceived as one single artwork. Every building, every square. It's like a deliberate statement of civic pride.
Yeah.
It's a living museum of that era.
A city as artwork. I like that. And yeah, that cathedral, the Duomo with the striped marble, it really stands out. Our source calls it Europe's best example of Italian Romanesque Gothic. Now, for those of us who aren't art historians, what does that mix of styles actually look like? What makes it special?
Right, good question. So you've got Romanesque, think solid rounded arches, a real sense of weight and permanence. Then Gothic comes in with height, those pointed arches reaching upwards, amazing stained glass, more light, more intricacy. Sienna's Duomo blends them. You get the grand scale of Romanesque, but with those detailed, soaring Gothic elements. And get this, it took 200 years to build.
200 years? Wow, that's dedication.
Absolutely. And inside, sculptures by Michelangelo, Pisano's pulpit, which is incredible, and this mosaic floor. It's so precious they only uncover for 2 months every year, just to protect it.
Only 2 months? That's amazing conservation. And then there's the Piazza del Campo, right? That famous shell-shaped square. The source mentioned it's paved in this distinctive red brick divided into 9 sections. And those sections actually represent the Council of Nine, the government back in Sienna's golden age. That's history right under your feet.
Exactly. It's a visual representation of their government. Pretty innovative for the time, that civic design. And if you want the big picture, literally climb the Torre del Mangia. It's about 400 steps, but the view's over Tuscany. Worth it. You see how the city fits into those rolling hills? Oh, and don't miss Santa Maria della Scala. It was Europe's oldest hospital. Now it's a museum. Incredible medieval frescoes inside.
Okay, adding that to the mental list. And the food. Peachy pasta with black pepper, wild boar stew, and panforte. That sounds interesting. A local spiced fruitcake.
Classic Tuscan flavors. And for wine lovers, the Enoteca Italiana in the Medici Fortress is the place to sample Tuscany's best.
So when's the best time to go? Avoid the palio crowds, maybe.
Yeah, the palio is intense, that bareback horse race in the piazza.
Yeah.
But October is fantastic. You get truffle season, fewer people. It feels a bit more intimate. Definitely try to stay within the city walls if you can. That really gives you the authentic medieval atmosphere.
Makes sense. Okay, from perfectly preserved Italy, let's head southwest to Spain, to a town that's, well, literally on the edge. Number 18 is Ronda. It's split by this incredibly deep chasm, like 120 meters deep, and connected by that bridge, the Puente Nuevo. Hemingway called it his entire city of dreams.
It's breathtaking. But what gets me is the story behind the bridge, the Puente Nuevo. It took 42 years to build. 42 years. And tragically, 50 workers lost their lives during its construction. So it's not just this iconic view, it's a symbol of huge human effort and sacrifice needed to connect that gorge.
Wow, 50 lives. That puts a different perspective on it, doesn't it? The city itself, built by the Moors way back in the 9th century, is full of stories. Bandits, bullfighters, artists. And speaking of bullfighters, Ronda has Spain's oldest and largest bull ring. Apparently, that's where Francisco Romero first used the red cape back in the 1700s. Basically invented modern bullfighting right there.
Yeah, it's amazing how one place can be so central to a cultural tradition like that. And the city's appeal.
Mm-hmm.
It clearly captivated people. Orson Welles loved Ronda so much, his ashes are actually buried nearby. Echoes Hemingway's feelings. Right?
Yeah.
You can explore old Arabian baths there, even go down into a hidden chamber inside the bridge itself. Used to be a prison, believe it or not.
A prison in the bridge.
Yeah.
Wild. And just wandering the old town, those whitewashed houses clinging right to the cliff edge. Must be incredible. The source says spring is great for wildflowers. Or September, for this festival, the Feria Goyesca. People dress up in 18th century outfits. It sounds quite unique. And imagining the sunset, hitting that gorge, turning it golden.
Yeah, I can see why Rill called it the City of Dreams, too.
Definitely a dramatic place. Okay, from Spain's cliffs, let's travel across the Mediterranean. Number 17 takes us to probably the most photographed spot in the region, Santorini, Greece. You know the images, those pristine white cliffs, the cobalt blue domes, the sunsets. Oh, Santorini. It almost looks too perfect in photos, doesn't it? Like, can it actually be real? The source talks about the sunset in Ocaia lighting up the caldera like a painting, and dawn bringing soft pinks. Sounds like it's always putting on a show. But beyond just being pretty, what's the deeper reason for that look?
Well, yeah, it is stunningly beautiful. But its perfection, as you say, is really born from dramatic natural forces. It's a volcanic island, the caldera. That's the collapsed crater of an ancient volcano. And that volcanic landscape heavily influenced the architecture, the pristine white buildings, the blue domes, even the way Bougainville contrasts. It all works together. It's almost like the geology demanded this kind of aesthetic uniformity built right into this powerful landscape.
Yeah.
That's why it captures the imagination, I think.
So the volcano basically shapes the design. That's fascinating. And those blue dome churches, they're like the postcard shot, aren't they? Quintessential Cycladic style. For anyone wanting to capture that magic, the source suggests early mornings in Imeravili, quieter alleys. Or sunset from Emudi Bay with the fishing boats.
Good tips. And for something maybe a bit less crowded, the village of Megalochori has its own charm, lovely white bell towers. Also, the recently restored windmills in Oria give you a different perspective, especially at golden hour. Great for photos.
Okay, noted. And best times. April, May for wildflowers and fewer people, or September, October for that warm light and great sunsets. Or just get up really early any time of year for peace and quiet. Sounds like a plan.
Right. Now, from an island shaped by volcanoes, let's go somewhere that's, well, fighting against geology. Back to Italy for number 16, a place with a really poignant story. Civita di Bagnoregio, they call it La Città che muore, the dying city. It's clinging to this eroding volcanic plateau. Only way in, a long footbridge, built by the Etruscans 2,500 years ago.
The dying city. Wow, that's evocative. And sad. The source says it's this constant battle, right? The volcanic rock, tufa, is just crumbling away beneath the walls. Tufa, that's like volcanic ash rock. Porous stuff. So it's beautiful, but fragile. And yet, only about 12 permanent residents are still there, keeping traditions alive for centuries. That level of human determination is just incredible.
It really is. It speaks volumes about the connection people feel to their ancestral home, even facing such huge challenges. You know, the Etruscans were amazing engineers to build there in the first place, but it shows the long-term vulnerability, too. Siva is kind of a stark reminder of that balance between nature and human heritage and the sheer will needed to preserve it.
And getting there involves crossing this 300-meter pedestrian bridge. Must have amazing views of the valley. Inside, you can explore ancient doorways, a Renaissance church San Donato, apparently, with Etruscan artifacts underneath Baroque altars, layers of history.
Exactly. And if you want to understand the geology and the preservation efforts, check out the Palazzo Alemani there. The local food sounds good, too. Wild boar prosciutto, local olive oil, served in little family-run places.
You can even see old traditions, like an Easter procession with torches, or a chestnut festival in October. Oh, and there's a restaurant, Alma Vita, actually carved into the rock, serving Etruscan-inspired recipes. That sounds unique. A place of resilient beauty, for sure.
Definitely. Okay, from that geological battle, let's shift north to a place where nature creates a different kind of beautiful drama. Number 15, Portree, on the Isle of Skye, Scotland. This place apparently has Scotland's most photographed harbor. It draws something like 150,000 visitors a year, but only has 2,500 residents.
Whoa, 150,000 visitors for 2,500 locals. That's a serious ratio. It does look incredibly picturesque, though. That rainbow of fishing boats, the candy-colored houses right on the harbor, and framed by those dramatic Kulin Mountains. The source says the harbor is like a natural amphitheater carved by glaciers. How did that work geologically?
Ugh, the Quillins, they're the heart of sky. Really rugged, dark, volcanic remnants. And yes, glaciers scoured this landscape over thousands of years, so that amphitheater shape of Portree's harbor. That's a direct result of those massive glaciers carving out the land, creating this naturally sheltered port. It's been the cultural heart of Skye since the 1700s, when a local chief set up the fishing port. A perfect marriage of dramatic nature and human settlement.
Cool. So summer, June to August, is best for long, bright days, but September has the Sky Live Festival. Highland music mixed with modern stuff. Sounds fun. And if it rains, which, let's face it, it might in Scotland, there's the Arrow Centre for Gaelic Heritage and Storytelling.
Always good to have a rainy day plan.
Yeah.
And yeah, beyond just looking pretty, Portree has great fresh seafood right off the boats. You still get that authentic feel of a working harbor town mixed with the stunning scenery.
And adventures, too. Boat trips to see seals, hiking the Old Man of Store nearby, wildlife tours for sea eagles. The name Portree means King's Port in Gaelic. Fitting, especially imagining the harbor lights reflecting on the water at dusk. Sounds lovely.
It does. Okay, next up, number 14. A complete change of pace. We're off to the Netherlands, to Giethoorn. This is the famous Venice of the Netherlands. Why? Because the postman delivers mail by boat. Cars literally haven't ever reached most of the village.
No cars at all. That sounds amazing. Just canals. 90 kilometers of them. And 2,600 little wooden bridges. Just imagine the peace and quiet. How did it even end up like that? Was it planned?
Actually, no. That's the fascinating part. It wasn't designed for tourists or anything. It happened by accident, sort of. Back in the 12th century, peat miners were digging here, but instead of just finding peat, they kept hitting these underground lakes. So their digging basically created this huge network of canals and waterways where there used to be land. It's a great example of how human activity, even unintentionally, can totally reshape a landscape and lead to this completely unique way of life.
That's incredible. An accidental paradise. And the name? Giethoorn, goat horn. From finding hundreds of goat horns after a flood. That's a quirky bit of history. The source mentions summer is busy with electric boats. But winter sounds magical too. People ice skating to the grocery store.
Right. Shows how adaptable the community is, living with the water year-round. They even have a music festival in June where musicians play on floating stages.
Floating stages. Love it. So you can explore in these traditional whisper boats. I assume they're quiet. Visit a gem museum, cycle the paths, eat Dutch pancakes by the water. Sounds idyllic. But hang on, 800,000 visitors a year to this tiny village of 2,600 people. How do they manage that without losing the quiet charm, does the source say?
It does go into the crowd management details, no. But focusing on those quiet whisper boats and the sheer size of the canal network probably helps spread people out. It's definitely a challenge, balancing that unique atmosphere with being so popular globally. Yeah, must be tricky. Okay, speaking of unique environments, our next stop sounds like something out of fantasy. Number 13, Lauterbach, Switzerland. The source says this valley inspired J.R.R. Tolkien's Rivendell, the Elven realm, and it's called the Valley of 72 Waterfalls. 72.
Tolkien's Rivendell. Yeah, that's a pretty big claim to fame, isn't it? And it's not just a couple of waterfalls, it's 72 cascading down these massive limestone cliffs. Plus, Switzerland's biggest underground waterfall system, Trummelbach Falls, is here too. The most famous one, Staubach Falls, drops almost 300 meters straight down. Lord Byron described it perfectly. The tail of the white horse streaming in the wind. It's just this constant presence of water carving through cliffs shaped by ancient glaciers, a real natural spectacle.
So it's not just the sights, it's the sound, too. Constant waterfalls plus cowbells from old farms. Must be quite an atmosphere. May to September is best for hiking, but winter sounds amazing, too. Ice climbers on the frozen falls. And August has Swiss National Day elf horns, raclette cheese, and mountain huts. Sounds incredible. Yeah, there's loads to do. Paragliding past the falls, exploring inside the mountain at Trummelbach to see those 10 glacial waterfalls, or taking the cable car up the Schilthorn. Remember the revolving restaurant from the James Bond movie? That's here too. Nature, history, pop culture. Plus, hiking trails that are centuries old, leading to huts where farmers still make cheese the traditional way.
Wow. And that alpenglow effect, the reddish light on the big peaks like the Eiger, Munch, and Jungfrau at sunrise or sunset. The source describes the last light hitting Staubach Falls and creating rainbows. Sounds absolutely magical, like stepping into a painting.
It really does sound special.
Yeah.
Okay, let's head back to Greece for number 12. We're off to Assos on the island of Kefalonia. This one's described as a secret paradise. It's on this narrow peninsula connected to the main island by just a tiny strip of land, maybe 100 meters wide. Think candy-colored Venetian houses, a 16th century fortress, and, get this, mathematical perfection.
Mathematical perfection. For a village, that's intriguing. What does that mean exactly? It sounds tiny. Only 88 permanent residents, one main square, 2 tavernas, 3 beaches. Sounds very focused.
Yeah, I think mathematical perfection refers to the harmony of it all, the way the elements fit together. Picture this horseshoe bay, the water shifting from turquoise to emerald green, the colorful houses arranged perfectly around it, and then the old Venetian fortress standing guard up on the hill. It's like everything is perfectly placed, creating this really balanced, calm, understated beauty, like a postcard that's somehow real, simple but just.
I can picture that. Sounds lovely. May to September for swimming, obviously, but September also has a local festival, the Feast of the Holy Cross. Greek music, souvlaki. Sounds authentic.
And the things to do there sound perfectly unhurried, too. Climb up to the fortress ruins, steep climb, but the views must be worth it. Snorkel in little coves, eat fresh octopus right by the harbor, or just wander the streets. No traffic. Maybe see cats napping in doorways. Total relaxation.
Locals call it Kefalonia's best-kept secret. And watching the sunset turn the limestone cliffs pink? Yeah, sounds pretty perfect, mathematical or otherwise.
Agreed. Okay, final stop for this part of our deep dive. Number 11 takes us to Romania, to Sighisoara. Now, this place has a hook. It's Dracula's birthplace, and it's also the best-preserved medieval citadel in Europe that's still fully inhabited. People have lived there continuously for 950 years.
Dracula's birthplace. Okay, that definitely gets your attention. Vlad the Impaler, the guy who inspired Dracula, his actual house is still there, and it's a restaurant now. Candlelit dinners, that's an intense atmosphere. But beyond the Dracula connection, what makes it so important historically? A living medieval city.
Exactly. That's the key. It's living history. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But unlike many historical places, people still live and work right inside the citadel walls. It has these 9 towers, and each one was historically maintained by a different medieval guild, like the tinsmith's tower, the tailor's tower, you see. So it's this tangible link to medieval life and how society was organized. It hasn't just preserved the buildings, it's woven history into daily life. It's not static.
That's really cool. Not just a museum. And they have a medieval festival in July with night tournaments and witch trials. Wow, they really lean into it. Or for a quieter visit, spring sounds nice, April or May, with wisteria blooming on the old walls.
Yeah, beautiful contrast. And to really soak it in, you can climb the Scholar's Stairs, 175 covered steps up to the church on the hill. It has frescoes that are 500 years old inside. And don't forget the clock tower. It's iconic. It has these little wooden figures that pop out every hour. They do that for centuries.
Amazing. And at night, the source mentions gas lamps casting shadows on the pastel houses, creating this enchanting, maybe slightly eerie medieval vibe. Sounds like stepping right into a storybook. Or maybe a Gothic novel.
Definitely captures the imagination. And that brings us to the end of this section of our journey through Europe's hidden gems.
Wow, what a trip already. We've gone from Sienna's medieval perfection and Ronda's dramatic gorge to Santorini's iconic views and Cive di Bagnoregio's poignant fight for survival. Then Portree's colorful harbor, Githorn's peaceful canals, Lauterbach's epic waterfalls, Assos' secret perfection, and Sighisoara's living history. Each one so different, so unique. Real hidden gems with deep stories.
Absolutely. And our goal here was to give you that curated understanding, right? To spark your curiosity about these incredible places without you having to wade through tons of info. Hopefully you can really picture yourself there now, walking those streets, seeing those views, feeling the atmosphere, armed with a few of those aha moments.
Yeah, totally. And if these stories of hidden beauty and adventure have sparked your wanderlust, and how could they not, you'll definitely love the other journeys we take. For more interesting travel videos and podcasts that transport you to breathtaking destinations, please do make sure to subscribe to Scenic Hunter.
And maybe, just maybe, the real magic of these places isn't only in the ancient stones or the incredible views. Maybe it's also in how they remind us that even in our crazy, fast-paced world, there are still corners where history is alive, where time slows down and waits for us to just savor the moment.
That's a beautiful thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep discovering.